Oh,
Like,
I'm gonna
Laverne
pass
and
on that.
Shirley. What do you mean?
I'm gonna pass.
Why?
I have like other things I think I'm gonna do today.
Okay.
Y'all are gonna come to learn that Wednesday is wash day, so. Okay, so let's chat. We are here to review the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, whatever season it is, episode, whatever that is as well. I'm so flustered right now. I'm not living for Bronwyn. I don't like Bronwyn. I don't like Bronwyn. And it's very shocking to me because I thought that I was living at the beginning of the season. So let's just start off. Bronwyn is recapping the night before the dinner, or not the dinner, the game, when they were in the section with her husband, talking about what happened with Lisa, bada bing, bada boom. They talk about that. Really, all I can think is, girl, shut up. And I just kind of go about my business. I did think it was funny when we get it's always, I did think it was a funny thing when it comes to Mary, but I guess that's her role. But I did think it was funny that, Whitney's going around, going to people's room, getting them ready for the day. She goes into Mary's room and she's like, what is that? And Mary's using like this thing for her hair. And she says, what is this tool? And Mary says, it's for black girls. I thought that was funny. I really kind of enjoyed, I'm going to say before I even get into it, because I'm remembering it and I just like it. I really enjoyed just watching the girls kind of like go from room to room in the hotel. I thought that was fun, and that was a creative way of starting the episode. So we get Meredith with Lisa. Lisa's in glam, and Meredith is kind of talking about what happened the night before. I really like when they do the flashbacks as well on Salt Lake City. I just kind of like that format. And so they flash back to the night before, and she was just telling her about how Angie, interestingly enough, crazy enough, wild enough, Angie and Whitney came up to Meredith in the little, what do you call it, the suite at the basketball game the night before, and they were basically bringing up, I was thinking that they were going to, the way that Meredith had positioned it, I was thinking they were bringing up new tea, but they were talking about, yeah, we can't really trust Lisa, like, think about what she did to you, like when she said you had sex with half of New York and all those other things, like how can you really trust her? Do you really trust her? That's so weird. Like, what? Girl, what? For Whitney, I can understand for a piece of it, for a crumb of it, because her and Lisa are not cool. Even when they got cool, I was like, this is not going to last. But Angie is supposed to be Lisa's friend. So even if you are upset with your friend, and I think that people are conflating these things, and that's where the delusion is coming in. Even if you are upset with your friend over essentially what Lisa and Angie have is a misunderstanding, you don't go and drag your friend's name through the mud. That's weird. And that makes Angie weird. I don't know why people are not getting that. And we're gonna get to Bronwyn. And then also, I just don't understand why going to Meredith about it. Like, did they think that Meredith was going to just jump back and revert and be like, oh my God, I hate Lisa too? Like, they had already made it very clear for 2 seasons now, 2.5 seasons, that they were working on their relationship. Like, this isn't fake. So obviously Lisa's upset about that, and I'm interested to see where that plays out, but I'm happy that Meredith came to her and told her, and Meredith is clocked the tea of them being childish and trying to do the sides. I hate the whole gang up thing. Like, if you don't like somebody and you're not getting along with somebody, make that your business. But like, don't recruit people to be upset with somebody. That's so weird and so lame and so losery. Fast forward, we have Whitney talking to Heather now, and basically they're talking about the day, like I've already said, but Heather is having this whole confessional moment where she's like, I really want Whitney to know what Meredith told me about the Alibaba stuff. Like, I really want her to know. Like, I really wish that Meredith would be the one to tell her, but it's like, obviously that's not gonna happen. So she's edging us, and obviously it's like, girl, you're gonna be the producer, you're gonna go and tell her. So we're looking forward to it. Like, just go ahead and tell her. I'm like, is that happening now or later? Now we get Whitney coming to Lisa's room. Lisa's still in glam, looking cute. And basically she's like, hey, Lisa's like, and she's like, well, we're gonna go to the cave, the Miller cave or whatever. And Lisa's like, I think I'm gonna sit that one out. I think I'm gonna pass. It's just so funny to watch her. Like, honestly, I was wondering like what would have been better if she would have addressed her here or if it'd just be better later. But I'm like, maybe she's marinating on it, I guess. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna pass. And Whitney's like, well, why? And she's like, because I'm just gonna do something else. And Whitney's like what? She's like, I'm working on something. So I thought that was hilarious. And it's just like, it just kind of upsets me more, the fact that you can literally, like, the night before, less than 24 hours, go to somebody and be like, do you trust Lisa? You shouldn't be friends with Lisa. And then you're trying to act like everything's normal. So we find out that Lisa ends up going curling, whatever the heck that is, and she invites Brittany and Mei Lee, I think is her name. I still don't know. I'm sorry. And another weird friend. Y'all know I was coming here. Bronwyn on the bus. Like, another thing, like, you're upset with your friend. Okay. But it's weird to go and discuss that with other people that you know don't like your friend. It seems a little bit intentional. And then also, you're not even friends with these people. You're not even close to these people. And let me actually take that a step back, because Whitney was just beefing with Meredith. So why would you go up to her to the suite and then try to like recruit her against Lisa? And Angie was just beefing with Meredith. So why would you go up to her in the suite and try to so yeah, Bronwyn's on the bus and she's chatting, and of course Angie jumps in because they're the two biggest losers. Like, their friend did them so wrong, so now they gotta run around and badmouth her to other people. But she's our friend, she's so wrong, she's the problem. Yeah, like, Lisa hasn't been a good friend to us. And Bronwyn's whole thing is like, well, why wouldn't she tell me that she was gonna go do something else? Like, she could have told me. Like, it's weird that she would go tell two other strangers. Or it's like, you just threw her under the bus last night. Why would she tell you anything other than kiss my ass? And then Angie's just so damn obtuse, and she's just like, yeah, like, Lisa hasn't even been talking to me recently. Like, I don't know why she hasn't been talking to me like every day. Like, we're not friends. You repeated what she said to Whitney. She expressed that she was upset with you about that. Like, what? Are y'all okay? And then add insult to injury. So Whitney's like, well, the only thing it could be is Meredith. Hey, Meredith, did you tell Lisa that we were talking about her last night? And Meredith's like, of course. Of course I did. Yeah, like, I most definitely did. And they're like, oh, well, it makes total sense. Lisa doesn't want to be our friend because we're talking bad about her behind her back to people that are not our friends, and we're supposed to be her friend. So they go beer tasting. This whole like middle segment for me, right? Like, where the girls are beer tasting and then Lisa's curling with the girls. Honestly, I thought that we were going to get something more. Like, when they do these split castings, maybe it wasn't planned for, obviously, because Lisa diverted and was like, I'm not going out with them. But typically you would get some tea on this side and some tea on this side, and they would bring the tea back together. That's not necessarily what happened, but I mean, we got to see the girls hang out, so that's cool. But then I guess I stand corrected because I forgot this so easily. How? While they were in the cave, most of the girls go and, you know, figure out the whole ghost story thing that they were talking about. I personally wouldn't have wanted to go either. I'm not into stuff like that. So, you know, Heather's like, let's just stay behind and have a beer. And me being obtuse, I guess my name is Angie as well. I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be nice to drink or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, Heather and Whitney are in a room alone. Like, okay, this is the moment. Great. So, of course, it is the moment. And Heather brings it up, and she's like, you know, this is something I've been wanting to tell you. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that Heather is a silent producer on this show. It's going so well. And Whitney, for me, Whitney's like, well, what are they saying about my business? What do you mean? In what aspect? And I'm like, in my opinion, she knew. Right, obviously, because this stuff was out in the blogs, and she even like said like she knew exactly what it was. So could they have been discussing other things? Yes, but I feel like Whitney is always playing such a role, so that's my bias. Anywho, Whitney goes off, and she's like, if she was concerned, if she was my friend, then she would have came to me directly about it and not been talking to everybody about it. I'm confused on 2 points there. I didn't hear that she was talking to everybody about it. Maybe that's something that we missed in the edit. So when she keeps saying that, because she said it 14 times this episode, that's confusing and distracting to me. Second, she kind of has a point, right? Like, because I guess there are two sides to it. If you hear something about me, you can come to me about it, or you can go talk to other people about it. However, I don't know where this expectation that Meredith come to her and talk to her about it is if they're not friends. And now, I'm not trying to clean up anything from Meredith. I don't 100% buy like, oh, I was concerned, because that's just something that they use on Housewives to talk about things. However, she didn't, I am kind of cleaning it up for Meredith. But, I mean, she did say, you know, I would bring it up, but I can't because we're not cool like that. And I feel like that part is the most truth that she told. Was she being messy though? Yeah, and I think Whitney deserves it. But, you know, even in all this upsetness, she agrees to not say anything on the spritter as Heather asked her, and she's like, okay, I won't say anything. And I'm like, well, typically our most like iconic scenes that happen on this franchise are on the sprinter. So honestly, I would like to hear about it, but it's fine. We'll hear it on the party bus. So while they're on the sprinter headed back, this is just some of the group, headed back to the house, they're gonna have a quick little parlay and then they're gonna go back out. They really don't say anything. There is a point where Whitney calls Melly, sorry girl. She calls her and she's like, yeah, you didn't come to the thing earlier. You didn't come to the cave. Like, I wish I would have gotten a heads up. Whatever, girl, nobody cares. But I was thinking that she was going to get on the phone with somebody and be messy. That would have been way more iconic. Like, I'm not going to say anything to Meredith, but I'm going to be passive aggressive on the phone. I would have lived for that, but that's just me being a producer. So they get back to the house or hotel, do whatever they're doing, get back on the bus to go to do what the heck they were about to do, because I don't remember that either. And somebody says, oh my God, Whitney, the trip has been so fun. And she's like, well, yeah, it was fun until I found out that y'all were talking about my business. And I'm like, here we go again with this y'all. Like, what? But Meredith speaks up and she's like, well, I don't think anybody was like making up rumors about your business, because Whitney says that as well. Whitney, and this is why I'm going to give Lisa a point later. Whitney paraphrases a lot, if that's the word I want to use. And she says things that are not actual and factual. And she knows that they're not actual and factual, but she characterizes them differently, almost for like shock value. And that's a little bit frustrating. So not only is she saying y'all talked about my business, which has not been proven, but she's also saying I'm hearing that you guys are making up rumors, which is also not what happened. That's not how Heather told the story at all. So Meredith's making that clear. She's like, nobody's making up any rumors. Like, I brought up what was in the blogs about you, and I actually said that I was concerned. Now, are you really concerned, Meredith? No, you're being messy, but she did say that. That is what she said. She brought it to Heather and she said, I'm concerned. I don't want to take it to her because we're not cool. So you should take it. And that's what happened. And it panned out that way. So as you can see, that conversation really kind of went nowhere on the bus. And I think Meredith really handled it pretty well. But, you know, Whitney's like, well, we're going somewhere that's really special to me and I'm very excited. So let's just table this. And I'm like, the nerve of you to say, let's table this. This is supposed to be a fun night, but you started this. Okay. So they get to the Harley Museum. They do a little bit of a walkthrough. That's cool or whatever. They get to their meal, I guess, that they're having. I don't really know what it's supposed to give. And Whitney immediately brings it up again. So Meredith. And it's just like, and you could just tell, because typically when you get this stuff and like people really care, there's a lot like, most of the cast, in my opinion, from what I've seen from Housewives, most of the cast will be involved in some way, even if it's not vocally. You'll see some facial expressions, you'll see some movement, some kikis on the side. We're really not getting anything from anybody. And that doesn't mean it wasn't happening. But I feel like producers really didn't tap into that scene because it was just like, we don't care. And they really allowed, because again, like I said, I'm not trying to clean it up for Meredith, but they definitely allowed her to get away with it. And that she's like, you're making this bigger than what it really is. And honestly, she was. And that's only because she was coming from the wrong angle, honestly. Like, she's coming from an angle level, Meredith, if we're friends, you should have come to me, instead of saying, well, Meredith, you were being messy, point blank, period. And I think that would have caught more flies, you know, with that, honey. But she kind of took the wrong route, and just simply nobody cared. And then it went even more off the rails, you know, when Lisa jumped in. This is the first off the rail for me. Lisa jumped in and she's like, girl, you really are like making this bigger than what it is. Like, and clocking what I just said, why I wanted to give Lisa a point, like, Whitney does mischaracterize things and just kind of make them stuff for shock value. That's just kind of her thing. So I like to see Lisa clocking it. And then Whitney has the nerve to say, well, let's just keep it between me and Meredith. And it's like, girl, it's the second time that you brought it up in front of all 25 of us. What do you mean? And then she jumped off the bridge even further when she's saying, well, you know, because she's trying to get on the back track, on the good track now, saying, you know, well, if Meredith goes and talks about it with other people instead of talking about me, it's gossip. Okay, you got a point there. But Lisa's like, but girl, you just were gossiping about me last night. Like, you and Angie were gossiping to Meredith about me. So what are you talking about? And Lisa's literally like laying in the facts to her. Like, this is the straightest I've ever heard Lisa talk and really get into her and really make her points out the gate. And then obviously, because she's getting her points out, Angie jumps in and Whitney's, but they're like, oh, it feels like you're steamrolling. And Lisa's like, I'm steamrolling you because I'm talking about facts. Like, girl, come on now with this gaslighting. Like, this whole, like, it's enough. Of course, Angie has to make it about her. And she's like, well, you know, Lisa, like, you haven't been a good friend. Like, you haven't been talking to me lately and blah, 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 blah. I think, and because she really, like I said, it's the weirdness of them wanting to perpetuate this thing about Lisa. Like, that has no standing. Like, she's like, you're upset because I'm friends with Whitney. Girl, what? Like, she's upset because you took what she said and told Whitney. It keeps being said every episode. The clips keep being played. They even played the flashback clip for you guys to see it. Lisa was very clear about what she's upset with Angie about. But Angie's really trying to perpetuate this thing like, oh, you don't want me to be friends with Whitney. You want me to do what you say. And you can see Lisa getting upset because it's like, you're really just making this up and just being ridiculous because you really want to push this narrative. Like, that's weird. And then she's even like, Angie does this weird sneak attack thing where she'll throw in little details. And she's like, I'm such a good friend to you. Like, you call me and you keep me up all night. And Lisa's like, girl, okay, well, call Electra. So you got to call Electra then, the way you get out of all our conversations. Go call your daughter. And they do this huge dramatic pause. I almost was ripping my skin off because I'm like, I know y'all are goddamn lying to me that y'all are going to act like her saying call your daughter is this just egregious thing when just a couple episodes ago Mary was saying how Brittany wasn't in a good relationship with her kids and everybody thought it was such a kiki. You have to be lying to me. Like, I don't want to hear that. That's some bullshit. And somebody even said, like, let's not bring the kids into it. Like, what? Y'all were not saying that when Mary was going in on Brittany. Like, and she never said anything negative. So I'm eager to see how this plays out because I know they're going to try to drag it to hell. Even before the whole thing played out, like while they were in that 5-minute pause, I literally wrote in my notes, what is so bad about call Electra? So they kind of jump over that. I don't even remember how that came to an end, to be honest with you, because I was a little bit outraged. But then Brittany makes an announcement and she says, you know, me and Jared are officially broken up. Okay, cool. And, you know, I don't mind, like, Brittany don't bother me. Okay, look, like, do I think that announcement was necessary? No. Do we care? No. But, in a weird, like, I'm kind of saying I like that the producers let this play out and didn't make it too obvious. Like, there's a conversation amongst the group, like somebody's saying something here, somebody's saying something here, they're asking her questions. But every single other question, you can clock Bronwyn saying, well, are you with him because he's an Osmond? Do you love him or do you love that he's an Osmond? What do you like most about him, that he's an Osmond? And it's like, girl. So I backflipped when Brittany got in her ass. Literally like, girl, you're so concerned about my relationship. What's going on with yours? And my girl goes down the list. Why'd you marry your husband? Are you with him because of his money? Are you attracted to him? Are you attracted to his money? What's the age gap? Ho! And Bronwyn, in typical Angie fashion, because they're the same type of chick, in typical Whitney fashion, because they're the same type of chick, we've already talked about this, she tries to make it an ageism thing. Are you asking me, am I attracted to my husband because of his age? No, you know what I'm asking you. Like, come on now, girl. Stop playing. And it didn't land. Come on now. She's even throwing out this stuff. I'm waiting for her because Bronwyn's quick. She almost had me. She's quick. I'm waiting for her to really give us something. And she's just like, no, I think he's funny. He's my best friend. We have a good relationship. She really thought she ate that. And you didn't. So don't try to get all up in arms now because you were really all on Brittany's ass and she got right back on yours, honey. So claps for Britt. I think I can see why she's here now. And oddly enough, I don't know where the hell this is coming from, but Whitney jumps in and she's defending Bronwyn once again. First, she defended Bronwyn against Bronwyn talking mess about her. Now she's defending Bronwyn, talking about, well, people thought that I married Justin for his money too because we're 18 years apart. Nobody has said that. Nobody cares. I love that they didn't just simply let Bronwyn off on that. I think that they started to peep. I think they're all gonna start to peep that something's a little bit weird about Bronwyn, or most of them. But you know, Heather, clocking right on it. Heather is winning me over, okay, I'm gonna tell you. Clocked right in, she's like, well, wait, because Bronwyn was like, yeah, we don't even have a prenup. I'm like, girl, that doesn't help your argument. And Heather's like, girl, that doesn't help your argument. Like, what do you mean you don't have a prenup? Like, what's that supposed to mean? And she's like, well, I think our relationship is genuine enough for us not to need a prenup. Like, I didn't have to come to him for money and he trusts me. And I'm like, Bronwyn, you may be a lot of things, but I don't know if the word that I would use is genuine. Okay? And then they squeezed the drag show into like the last 7 or 8 minutes of the episodes. I didn't really bother to give it that much. I really do love Trixie Mattel, and if you're not familiar with Trixie, you should get into her. Great girl. I did not know she had a bar in Milwaukee, but I know that's where she's from. And so, yeah, I think that's dope. If it's even Milwaukee, I could just be saying stuff, but whatever. I really do like Trixie, so I thought that was fun. I love drag as well, but seemed like a non-issue to the show. At the end of the day, I will talk about the preview because obviously they showed this before. Angie saying, you know, I don't let my kid play video games all night or whatever. Again, jumping out the window. Like, all she said was go call your child, and you're talking about her parenting skills. I don't understand not knowing the difference between things. I don't understand that. I don't understand the delusion, but we'll see how it plays out. Good episode though, and I'll see y'all in the next one.